so cold, my energy is contagious. All the pain, I can't take it. I'm staying grounded and graceful, cause I know everything that I've been through only made me count my blessings daily. Yeah, they've been acting shady, but I don't take it personal. The memories fading, I'm enjoying the moment. I've been smelling the roses, taking time to reflect, stepping back, the truth unfolding, unfolding. Nothing to prove, cause I'm not the blow. I've been in the booth, speaking to my soul. You know that I'm true, either way it go, either way it goes. I cannot turn cold, staying on the low. I've been protecting my soul. If your intentions are not pure, I can't let you get too close, cause I'm vibrating high. Ain't got time for your ego, these niggas quit to turn me back. Acting like the amigos, he never cared in the shows. Wasn't with you at your lows, assuming that you gonna fold. But baby, I've been growing ever since I let you go. And I've been doing better, and I know that hurts to know. Hurts to know. Only good vibes around me, and that's for sure. Only good vibes, good vibes. Good vibes, good vibes. Only need good vibes, good vibes. Good vibes, good vibes. Only need good vibes. Can't lie. Only need good vibes, good vibes. Good vibes, good vibes. You see me searching for my inner peace. I've been learning more about myself and my purpose. Truth always come to the surface. Was hurting, but I had to heal. Releasing all the pain that I always held. Been going through some changes, I'll make it still. Protecting my soul to keep it real. Only need good vibes, good vibes. Good vibes, good vibes. Only need good vibes, good vibes. Good vibes, good vibes. Only need good vibes. Can't lie. Only need good vibes, good vibes. Good vibes, good vibes.
What's up, everyone? Let's do a sound check before I get too far into this, all right? Yeah, welcome into tonight's show. Tonight's show, Nancy Guthrie, 2 months later. That's right, 2 months later, and it's still an enigma to most. Glad to see everyone here. I want to welcome all of you before we get started. Becky, Paula Fitzhenry, Christopher, Deb 731, Victims News on Air, Who's Her Daddy 11, BGPO, Critter Mama, Fur Baby Daddy, Quadaxel Mimi, ACV 5360, Gretchen, Caroline 88, Oh Hey Christina. Okay, so good to see everyone, and please welcome everyone else as they come in. Uh, I have been intending to get the ball rolling with this case for a while. And with all of the recent events surrounding the Richard Allen case, this has taken a back seat to that. But I thought, due to the comprehensive job that I did, especially on Friday past, um, we're pretty well caught up with that appeal and the state's response and all that stuff. And I thought it'd be a good time to come on in and take a look, especially considering the fact that we're now reaching the 2 month point. And for many of you on the replay, it will be beyond the 2 month point that this disappearance has been ongoing, and law enforcement has been uh, suspiciously cryptic and quiet. The media has been suspiciously performative and hyperfixated on this case. And social media is beginning to go into the wacky conspiracy theories. And I thought, well, hey, you know what? It's time to kind of take a look at some things and cover this with some reason. And now, especially for those of you out there who are not necessarily caught up on this case, tonight will be a good one for you, because what we'll do tonight is just take a kind of a brief summary of what's transpired in the past 2 months with this case, kind of get you oriented. And I intend on Friday to also do a deeper dive. Um, this case is very interesting, and keep in mind, yeah, you have this piece of media, that is highly intriguing. It's in the thumbnail. From the doorbell camera. I used a screenshot of the thumbnail, but you can see how this thing is, right? You can see it. It's intriguing. You have a difficult to identify masked individual, a mystery. A lot of parallels, okay? Which makes for a great viral piece of social media. And there are a lot of thoughts that I have around this, especially concerning the mainstream media, and how very obvious it was to me in the first days of this. And this is going back to the first days of February, let's remind ourselves. um, there were how would I say, so many indicators in the mainstream media coverage that this case was being, I don't know, for lack of a better term, blown up. You know, um, I often think of saying things in a very crude manner or straightforward manner, a very realistic manner. Um, Something to the effect of this, like, how many people are abducted on a weekly basis? How much mainstream media coverage do they get? How many prime time mainstream media features do they get? How is it that this is the number one story that's being pushed by all the news agencies? Not just for days on end, not just for 5 days on end or a week on end, but for weeks and now months on end. And immediately my suspicion goes up, and I say, the mainstream media is pushing this case with all it has. Why is that? Mm, it's just something that sticks out at me, you know? And not only do I notice the general atmosphere of this being boosted to the top of the public's consciousness through the coverage, but I also think of I watch what's being conveyed in the messaging. And I watch it developed, and I try to understand what angles are being pushed here. And then I watch social media, and I think, what angles are being pushed there? And then I look at the emotional import of it all. Like as things continue further, I look at the emotional undertones to it all, and I think, wow, uh, they have made this such an emotional case. And naturally, my mind goes to the most likely scenarios and the most obvious red flags. And and I think that as I get into this coverage in the next weeks, my theory will become pretty obvious to you. But I think I will not necessarily get ahead of myself and push it out to you. Um, but I think there are some obvious facts which need not be said, um, particularly if you think of the most obvious facts regarding Nancy Guthrie and her daughter. Um, but there were some things I wanted to share together tonight. I thought we could do this together. Uh, and I think the good way to get the ball rolling is just to dive on right in right now with with the first thing I'd like to share, which is from Court TV. Shout out Court TV, always bringing the goods, um, or at least used to. So let me pull up some piece that I'd like to take a look at with you. Uh, let's review or take in this piece of coverage from Court TV. And everyone who's coming in, welcome in. And everyone on the replay, please join the comment section. We'd love to hear you or hear from you in the comment section. Just leave your comments down below. I'm sure I'll have something to say to you, or at a minimum, give you a little heart and let you know I saw your comment. So appreciate having you here. If you're interested in anything about me, how to find me, it's in the link tree that's posted at the top of the chat and in the About Me section. So let's dive on in. Vinny Politan investigates.
I'm Vinny Politan. The subject of my investigation is the abduction of Nancy Guthrie, a case that is now more than a month old and has everyone wondering, are we any closer to solving the mystery? Here's the story. The break in the case didn't come from a witness. It came from technology. Nancy Guthrie disappeared from her Tucson home overnight. Authorities say evidence shows she did not leave on her own. Blood identified as hers was found at the scene. Then investigators revealed a critical twist. Home security systems and digital monitoring connected to her pacemaker were disabled during the time frame when she vanished. Surveillance footage later showed a masked person outside of her home. Ransom communications followed, though law enforcement has not confirmed their authenticity. Now the FBI is also on the case. An elderly woman with medical needs is missing, and investigators continue to race against time. Now, obviously, there's been a huge public investment in this case, in this investigation, et cetera. But take a moment, take a step back, and think about what it has been like for Savannah and Cameron and Annie, the children of Nancy Guthrie, waking up every day, if you can sleep at night, and mom still isn't back, and you're wondering what happened to her. Why did this happen? Who did it? What did she suffer? Is she suffering now? Is she alive? Is she not alive? Is this a kidnapping? Was this a murder? What? Like, you don't have any of the answers. And every day is the same. And for Savannah Guthrie, right? She's the host of the Today Show. Big time job, right? But like part of everyone's, a lot of people's, millions of Americans' mornings, right? And that's a huge part. Her family is back on the East Coast as well. And she's been out there every day, every night, waiting for an answer. And the answer is never came. I want to bring in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. Cody, because I was glad to hear of this moment that Savannah did travel back, meaning that she's spending time, she's got children, she's got a husband, a family, and everything that's going on here. Plus, she was back at the Today Show, surrounded by her television family.
Yeah, Vinny, so that took place today. She was there making an off-screen visit to her colleagues at the studio back in New York. And, you know, it was reported that she was expressing all sorts of gratitude and thankfulness for the support that her colleagues have shown her and her family since this whole tragedy started. We're looking at images there that we have of her back there today with her colleagues. Obviously, emotion is just riddled across her face. But I imagine, you know, you see there that warm embrace from her colleagues, just a sense of warmth and love there among the people at the Today Show, seeing her come back. Now, another important thing about it is that she did confirm that she plans on returning to the show at some point, but there's no specific date for when she'll actually be back on the air on millions of people's TV screens in their homes across this country. Now, speaking of the Today Show, Vinny, Savannah's mother, Nancy, you know, the crux of this whole investigation here, she's appeared on the Today Show several times before with one of the most recent segments showcasing pretty much Savannah's life growing up out there in her hometown of Tucson, which is, you know, how the world found out that Nancy still lived there. Take a listen to this clip from the Today Show where Nancy and Savannah are at one of Nancy's favorite restaurants out there in the area.
What made you want to stay in Tucson and plant roots?
It's so wonderful. Just the air, the quality of life is laid back and gentle. Yeah, I like to watch the javelina eat my plants.
But the best thing about Tucson is coming home and seeing you guys.
So clearly a close relationship there between Savannah and her mother, Nancy. Now, Vinny, I want to pivot back to, you know, we've heard a lot about these ransom letters and that initial ransom letter that the FBI was taking very seriously. That initial letter demanded $6 million in Bitcoin. That's a lot of money, whether it's in cryptocurrency or US dollars. That leaves open the question, you know, the suspect in this case, why would he have taken Nancy or demanded that much money without knowing that Nancy was Savannah's mother?
Right. Yeah, that's such a great point, Cody. Because when you're, you know, as the host of the Today Show and the way they do the show is they're very open about their lives. And a big part of Savannah's life, obviously, is her mom. And then, you know, just, you know, a few months, maybe 2 months before this happened, a big profile piece on Nancy, et cetera. And then that huge demand of money.
Okay. All right. First chime in. So I don't know about you. But for me, the probability that any of these ransom notes are legitimate, probably nil. I don't know. Maybe one. But I'd say ransom notes fake. Okay, fake. Maybe scammers. Okay, scammers. Maybe part of the psyop. I don't know. Maybe one legitimate. Just think about it. Do you really think if people had abducted this woman for the purposes of asking for a ransom, do you really think that they would continue with that plan after media has blown this up to the extent that it has? That they would risk knowing that the entire government of the United States would be tracing you down, whether it's Bitcoin or anything. Do you honestly believe that any ransom would be successful with this much national attention and the entire backing of the United States government behind it? It just doesn't smell right. I don't buy it. Now, that being said, there are some questions about some of the ransom notes, and we'll talk about that later. We'll get into that. But I'm just saying, just from a gut instinct, if this is some low-level street thug criminals who somehow managed to get in there and take this woman, thinking that she has access to money, so they're going to send a ransom note for $6 million or $2 million or any amount of money, and they actually think that they're going to get it when the entire world is focused on this case, or at least the West. Come on. It's not very believable. Okay? So yeah, not buying it. But we'll get into details of the case later. I'm just saying, not buying it.
Brings us to the first question in our investigation tonight. And I think this is one we've been thinking about from the beginning anyway, right? Was Nancy Guthrie taken because she's Savannah's mom?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I guess I'll give an indication of my conspiracy theory here. First point. Okay, my first point. My first hint is yes, Nancy Guthrie is absolutely disappeared right now because she is Savannah Guthrie's mother. Absolutely. It's my theory. Okay, first hint. Because the inverse is nonsensical. Here you have an elderly woman on a pacemaker, on medication, who is very, very old, as Adam Sandler would say. Very, very old. No one takes a very, very old woman who is not the wife of a billionaire or something. It ain't happening. So first indicator, why would this woman matter to be disappeared? Well, I think as you guys know, you have to ask the right questions to get the right answers. So I think here Vinny does ask the first right question, which has an obvious answer, at least in my book, which is absolutely. Okay, absolutely. She's taken because of her daughter, Savannah. Okay, let's continue.
As sick as that is, right? But like, was that the motivating factor? Is that why she was targeted? Joining me, psychiatrist, forensic specialist, and medical health expert, Dr. Yalda Safai, and private investigator Lauren Vellucci. Great to have you both here. Dr. Safai, before I get to that question, I wanted to ask you about Savannah. And you know, going back, she's been out there 30 days, more than 30 days, day in and day out, trying to live this. But she was able to go back home, be surrounded by family, and obviously friends who are coworkers, but they're great friends as well in real life. How important do you think that is for her at this point, now that we're more than 30 days into all of this, to return to some, I'm not going to say normalcy, but some of the people that are so important to her every day of her life?
You know, I see this with my own patients all the time. For people who have gone through some sort of trauma or traumatic event, or who are going through a depressive episode, sometimes going back to work and going back to a routine is very important for their well-being and recovery. They become distracted in the everyday tasks that they have to do. So having that routine is actually sometimes healthy for your mental health. And if you're surrounded by supportive coworkers who are there to have your back, or you can emotionally rely on, I mean, that's the best case scenario. And it seems like that's what she has here. So she's incredibly lucky. And I think it's important and helpful that she's back at work, actually.
Yeah, because I could see just getting lost in all of it, and then you stop thinking about your own sanity, your own health, and it's so important. All right, Lauren, let's get to the question. Do you think that Nancy is targeted, that Nancy is taken, that they break into that home because she is Savannah's mom?
Yeah, Vinny, from day one, I mean, I don't believe in coincidences. So you have a major celebrity who, in her own right, Miss Guthrie was on TV multiple times. So she was, you know, a low-key celebrity. So I absolutely do believe that there is a connection. This was always a targeted kidnapping, abduction, in my opinion. And, you know, I just don't see it any other way.
Yeah. Dr. Safai, you know, we see a picture of the suspect on the porch, but we don't know who he is. We don't know his background. We don't know if the ransom letters are connected or not. But if the ransom letters are connected, the motivation seems very obvious, and a connection to Savannah. But what are your thoughts about this man on the porch having any idea of what would result from breaking into that home and removing Nancy Guthrie from that home? Do you think anyone has that in their mind, that I'm about to commit a crime that the whole nation is going to know about within hours?
That man on the video doesn't look too sophisticated to me. He doesn't look like he could be the mastermind behind all of this. I think he might have been hired by somebody who knew exactly who this family was, to carry out the job. You know, they're demanding $6 million in ransom. People think just because you're on TV, you have that kind of cash lying around, which is not always the case, right? And I think if the mastermind behind this was looking for some sort of infamy or notoriety, kidnapping somebody famous who's already on TV all the time is the best way to achieve that. So I don't think this was a coincidence. I think it was orchestrated and they knew who this family was. But this specific kidnapper that we're seeing on camera, I don't think he was leading things.
Lauren, I know you've spoken a lot about the man on the porch. What are you?
Okay, let me chime in here. I would agree with her on one point. I don't think he was leading things. And you know, for me, something doesn't sit right with me with this footage. Do you guys remember the elementary concepts of the art of magic? Right? It's sleight of hand. It's sleight of hand. It's hey, look over here, look over here, look over here, while something's going on behind the back, right? We'll say, if they've cased this house, these are professionals, they've cased this house, they very well know where that camera is. And by the way, why aren't there other cameras? But they very well know where this camera is. They're putting this guy in front of this camera very carelessly, and he's also very casual. Almost like it's a complete distraction. And let's be clear here. We know they went in the back doors. Okay. You want to know how they get in the house? It's the back doors that are propped open, requiring no forcible entry, no noise, right? Why is this guy even at the front door at all? Is it to cover the camera, to bring a vehicle around? Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. So yeah, that guy's not leading nothing, and he's also not a lone wolf perpetrator. Let's get that one straight. Okay, so we'll get that straight from the jump. We're not dealing with the lone wolf. We're not dealing with he's trying to figure out how to break in. We're dealing with he's there to try to disable or cover or remove this camera. I would assume to bring a vehicle around, okay? Because the vehicle is what they're trying to keep out of sight of the camera. Anyway, let them continue.
Your thoughts about him and the motivation or the role that he has in all of this?
Yeah, I agree with the doctor 100%. I don't think this is a criminal mastermind that really knew the whole scheme of this operation, if I had to take a guess. I think he knew he had a job in this, and unfortunately, I think his job was getting Miss Guthrie out of the home. He didn't come prepared. Again, someone who knew potentially that there was a security system and a doorbell camera, and then goes right there to pick up flowers, shrubbery to cover the camera. That is ridiculous. So this guy, I think, played a part, but a very small part in the grand scheme of things. I wouldn't even be surprised if he didn't know the full extent of what was about to happen.
I'm saying, I don't know. In my gut instinct, my gut feeling, this is all play acting for the camera. Okay, this is all play acting for the camera. So the news is going to have something to run with. You understand? This is play acting for the camera, in my opinion. So it's not a big mystery, but let's continue.
All right. Dr. Safai, I want to circle back and finish this segment up talking about Savannah again, because, I mean, big time in the news business, has been a part of American mornings for many years now. It's got her big national start here on Court TV, but obviously, whew, you know, through the roof, her career. Do you think she thinks about that? And if you were speaking with her and she's struggling with the fact that something bad may have happened to my mother because I'm a celebrity, or you know what I mean? Or I'm successful, and they may have targeted a family member. And I'm sure it's happened to other families as well. How do you help them work through it and help them understand that they did nothing wrong? They should hold zero guilt or responsibility about what happened, if they are harboring that.
It's very normal to feel that way. Usually the first thing somebody does, it starts to think of all the scenarios of how they could have done things differently and how they are to blame. I see this with victims all the time.
It's called survivor's guilt, okay? Survivor's guilt. Survivor's guilt.
So it's very normal. It's actually part of the process. And, you know, we don't know. Maybe if she wasn't on TV, something as tragic of like this could have still happened to her family. We don't know. But what we work in therapy with patients is to try to let go of that feeling. And it takes a long time. Sometimes they hold on to it for even years, that feeling of guilt. But it's something that's actively worked through in therapy. And I'm pretty sure at one point or another, that thought has crossed Savannah's mind, unfortunately.
Yeah, and obviously there's no one to blame for this other than the people responsible, and sometimes that's difficult to to understand and to grasp, because in a lot of the cases and things we talk about, the tragedies, people are like, well, if I did this, if I did that. No. The bad guys, they are the ones responsible for all of this. All right, Dr. Safai, Lauren Vellucci staying with us. Coming up next, will the reduced coverage of this case impact the suspect?
What reduced coverage, bro? What are you smoking? Reduced coverage. This has been the most over-covered case I've ever seen in my life.
Somebody knows, and we are begging you to please come forward now.
Weeknights on Court TV.
I'm Vinny Politan. Welcome to Closing Arguments. We have a big hour ahead here.
Your deplorable actions are unforgivable.
The community still doesn't know how this Boston police officer died.
He can't prove one element of his case.
It was a dramatic day, a dramatic moment inside the courtroom.
What's happening here?
It's unreal. Let me show you exactly what happened.
Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan. Weeknights at 8, 7 Central. Only on Court TV.
But we need to know where she is. We need her to come home. For that reason, we are offering a family reward of up to $1 million for any information that leads us to her recovery. All of the information about this reward and the details is in the caption below. You can call the 1-800-TIP line. You can be anonymous if you want.
I am shocked that a $1 million reward did not lead to a lot of movement in this case very quickly. $1 million is a lot of money. That's game changing. You rarely see a number like that in an unsolved case.
Yeah, but this is not your run-of-the-mill street-level thug abduction. I mean, it's hard for me to conceive how people can't see through what all of this is. Which I guess leads me to point 2 of my thoughts, okay? This is a professional level disappearance. Okay? Professional level disappearance. This is a pro job. And I would speculate that Miss Nancy Guthrie ain't never coming home. Because if she's disappeared by a professional organization for serious purposes, she's not coming home.
And Savannah Guthrie and her family put that money on the table. Said, here's $1 million. Just give the information so we can recover our mom. No one came forward. Wow. Let's get back to Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas.
Because no one
Cody,
has the information.
Obviously.
No one has the information. No one has the information. This is a high-level job. No one has this information, and the ones who have it ain't giving it up. This is a professional job.
A big story. You were there in the beginning. It was, you know, unlike anything. We see these stories once in a while. They are rare. This was one of them. But it does seem like things are beginning to calm down a little bit now.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Vinny. And I'll tell you, those first couple weeks, though, I was there the first week, the week that she was reported missing, it was a media frenzy. I mean, there was media left and right, especially in the press conferences. And we have some images of the media Frenzy, there it is right there. You see all these people yards. That's the street that Nancy lives on. They're yards down the street in either direction. I'm talking 4, 5, 6 football fields. You couldn't even find a place to park. It was just so crowded. But Vinny, you know, as time went on, of course, you know, neighbors started getting disgruntled. A little bit of the media started dropping off. I mean, you know, when we first started, there was every local outlet, every national outlet that you could imagine that was out there. I remember talking to a guy that had driven all the way over from San Francisco. Even him and his team were out there. But, you know, eventually orders came in that restricted media from parking pretty much anywhere inside the area, inside the neighborhood. You couldn't park anywhere. Now, media and journalists were still allowed to access the roads and the road in front of Nancy's house, but they would have had to got dropped off at the entrance of the neighborhood, the multiple entrances, and take a hike through the roads in that Arizona heat. So that did away with a lot of the journalists and media. You know, so it is dying down. But then we see this post from JLR Investigates on X. It's a sign in the neighborhood that says, "Please do not leave media as the Nancy abduction will go cold." So, Vinny, even though,
Bruh, the woman beater, like. Why are we promoting the woman beater? Come on, man.
some of the media coverage, the media is pretty much not there anymore. It still seems to be some public interest, at least from people in the neighborhood out there in the Tucson area.
Yeah, would like to see it get solved, but you are so right. The numbers have come way down, and it's over the course of time. Other big stories have happened, and you also have this, like, it's not necessarily a waning interest, but you know, in the beginning, any little thing that happened became big. Now it's going to take something big to happen to get that level of coverage back. So that brings me to the next question in our investigation. And I think it's an important one in a case like this where there was so much coverage. Will the reduced coverage of the case, or how will the reduced coverage of the case impact the suspect?
That's a ridiculous question, Vinny. That's a ridiculous question because there ain't no suspect. Okay, this is a professional level job. Okay. Savannah was very essential in coordinating with so-called Epstein victims or whistleblowers. That's the biggest red flag for me in this entire case. And I don't see what's so hard to understand about that, or why you would not immediately suspect that the most important things would be the most important factors that would lead to them, that would be the most important compelling factors that would cause questions. But this is going to be entertaining here.
Still with me, psychiatrist Dr. Yalda Safai and private investigator Lauren Bellucci. Lauren, what are your thoughts there? You know, when it's, you know, the top story in every news outlet, everywhere, locally, nationally, online, on your feed, it's still there, but it's not even close to where it once was.
Well, thank God, because it was too much. It was overblown. Okay, at the expense of so many other missing kids. There's missing children right now. Actually, I get the notices on my phone all the time. Okay, there's several missing kids right now in the past few days. Where's the coverage?
How do you think this will impact the suspect or suspects in this case?
I think it depends on what type of person these people are that took them. It seems as though if the reporting is accurate and these are accurate kidnapping demand letters, they wanted a sense of people to be watching, right? They seeked out the media to release these. So I think it depends on basically how they are. If they want that, I feel like if these are legit, they will reach out again and kind of let that be known. But I think it's also a little relief for them as well, because they're hoping that it kind of gets forgotten in a way, and the investigation hasn't gone very well, and just looking at it from an outsider's point of view. So I think that
I would disagree with that. How do we know? So how do we know how the investigation has gone? How do we know? I mean, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, they're not giving much. Okay, law enforcement is not giving anything. They're being extremely cryptic. They're only acknowledging bare minimum facts when they become inevitable. Sound familiar? Let me continue, because I don't want to give too much away. We'll be getting to it. Okay.
maybe breathing a sigh of relief. So it depends on basically the criminology aspect of things for this actual person.
Dr. Safai, what are your thoughts on how the way there was this frenzy, it was the story night in and night out, and now things have
which
kind
was
of
unusual,
settled.
Vinny.
How do you think that will impact the
highly
suspect
unusual
or suspects in this case?
I agree. I think if these suspects are going after notoriety, infamy, or if they're hoping to get a big paycheck out of this, I think the dying off of the media attention could be a problem. One of two things could happen. Either they'll get tired, abandon the whole thing, and hopefully leave the victim on the side of the road unharmed, or they can get frustrated and escalate. Hopefully it's the first scenario, but if that's what they're craving, if they're craving that media frenzy and notoriety, it's going to be bad news if the media attention dies down. Now, if their motive is elsewhere,
I don't like this woman's assumption, which she's her baseline where she's operating from. Yeah, the whole assumption that these are just some normal street level kidnappers is way off to me.
Or their interest lies in something else, which we haven't really discovered yet, then it's a whole nother scenario. So I think it, like my co-panelist said, it really depends on what their motives are.
Lauren, do you think there's any chance that they kind of let...
So let me chime in on this. What I would say the question we should all be asking, honestly, the question in this case, let me pull this shit down for a minute. The question that we should all be asking in this case is, what is the motive for this incident? Okay, let's stop assuming kidnappers. And let's ask the logical question. What is the motive for this incident? Okay, so you take the mother, an old lady of a very high profile media figure who is intimately connected to the Epstein debacle. You take a high profile media figure connected to Epstein or the Epstein case, and you disappear her mother off the face of this earth, and then the entire media complex blows this story completely, makes it viral. I would put it nicely like that. So the entire media corporate complex made this story an absolute media phenomenon. So what is the motive behind disappearing the mother of someone intimately connected in the media to the Epstein victims or story, and then disappearing the mother and then blowing it up to the loudest level possible? That's the question that I want answered.
Their guard a little bit and maybe somehow, some way do something or reveal something sort of unintentionally because they're a little more relaxed?
Yeah, I definitely think that that is possible. It happens a lot. But ultimately, I think this crime is going to be solved with the evidence that they were able to collect. And I have absolutely no confidence in Sheriff Nanos. I just don't. So I just hope that because of the mishandling of this crime scene from day one and everything else after that, that they have enough to find this person.
I disagree. What evidence? What evidence? What evidence has been acquired that's compelling? That's a question I have for all of you. What evidence has surfaced in this disappearance that is of any merit?
But yes, there's always that chance that they could get more comfortable, speak and say things that they shouldn't because of their like cocky nature of the fact of what they've done. And it's giving them that confidence because there has been nothing. They to them, it seems like they may have gotten away with this.
Excuse me. And Dr. Safai, the other part of this story is that we were talking about Savannah. Like if there becomes a moment where this thing is dying down, it can heat up very quickly through the actions of Savannah Guthrie herself, right?
Well, you've just seen that. Oh my God. Hold on.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. You've just seen that with the Hodakopti interview a few days ago. With all the tears, emotion. Remember I said at the beginning, the emotionalism that's been injected into this is just absolutely appalling or jaw-dropping.
Right? She could sit down, do an interview, she could hold a press conference. So I don't think this is one that the family, we deal with so many families that are worried about their unsolved cases going cold.
So many.
I don't think this is one that would fit in that category necessarily, for the family at least, because I think they control part of that.
I think Vinny let some truth slip right there. Whoa, Vinny. Good one.
That's true. She's on television every single day. If she wants to keep the case alive, she probably can. She has a large social media following and presence, and she's always on TV. But that is a very heavy burden on her shoulders to have to bear. So I hope it doesn't come to that. But like you said, this is not just any ordinary case. This is a famous person, and she has the power to keep this case alive by doing more interviews, by drawing on from her connections in the media. So this is not an ordinary case, and hopefully it won't die down completely.
All right, Dr. Yalda Safai, Lauren Vellucci, great to have you both here. We appreciate it. Thanks so much. Still to come, how well do we think the investigation is going?
Well, I mean, honestly, do we really think this is an investigation? I mean, I hate to rain on anyone's parade. Do we really think this is an authentic investigation, or is this an entire media event / psyop?
I'm Vinny Politan. We continue our investigation of the abduction of Nancy Guthrie. Who is that man behind the mask, and how has he been able to get away with the highest profile unsolved crime in the nation? Here's the story. It started with a normal family dinner. Nancy Guthrie left her daughter's home around 9:45 p.m. and returned to her own residence close by in the Catalina foothills. Sometime overnight, something happened. By Sunday, she had vanished.
Yeah, between midnight and 3 a.m. or so.
Police declared the home a crime scene. Evidence suggests she did not leave voluntarily. Blood confirmed to be hers was located outside. Surveillance video captured a masked individual on the property during the night. The FBI joined the investigation. Ransom letters have circulated publicly but remain unverified. Savannah Guthrie, a familiar face to millions, now finds herself in a deeply personal nightmare. And the question remains, where is Nancy?
Where is Nancy? That question has not been answered. And this has been a massive effort by law enforcement. If you think about the hundreds of deputies and officers and agents from the FBI, all involved in this, all working the case. Let's bring back in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. The other part of this investigation that's been kind of different is how the sheriff has been communicating with the public. Can we take a look at how all that sort of has transpired over the course of this month?
Yeah, let's walk through it, because we know Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos, he's held some press conferences, he's had some one-on-one interviews with some media outlets, he's released some statements, daily statements for a while there, Vinny. But let's take a listen to what he said on February 5th. This was 5 days after Nancy Guthrie was last seen. Take a listen.
Nobody's eliminated, but we just really don't have enough to say, this is our suspect, this is our guy, we know, or our gal. We just don't know that. And it's really kind of reckless to report that someone is a suspect when they could very well be a victim. It just, I bring to you, to the media, I plead with you to be careful of what it is we put out there, because we don't have anybody here listed as a suspect. This is a timeline that we have been able to develop with some of the things that we've had processed. Various pieces of electronics that we've gathered. Sunday morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., software detects a person on a camera, but there's no video available. They had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite itself, cut up. It just kind of leaves, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but that's what it says. So it detects a person on camera. Could that be an animal? I imagine that's possible. We don't know that. We just have no video. But we're not giving up on that. 2:28. Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone.
When you say the doorbell camera was disconnected, do you believe that that camera was taken?
We do not have it in our possession. We've not located it. At 9:48 p.m., which is very consistent to what we were told by the family, that Nancy was dropped off at home, and we know that because we have a garage door open at approximately, I can't stress that enough, at approximately 9:48 p.m. At 9:50 p.m., that garage door closes. It is that time we assume that Nancy's home and probably going to bed. We know she is in need of medication, daily medication. And we also know that this is day 4 or 5, and still we don't know that she's getting her medication. That could in itself prove fatal.
So that was the initial press conference just days after Nancy Guthrie was last seen. But since then, we know the sheriff has communicated with the public through public releases and on social media. And it started with this statement they put out the next day after that press conference on February 6th. They say, quote, "The FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department are aware of a new message regarding Nancy Guthrie. Investigators are actively inspecting the information provided in the message for its authenticity." And he's referring to a second ransom note. We've heard a lot about these ransom notes as this case has developed. Then on February 12th, some information came out on a possible suspect. They say, quote, "The suspect is described as a male approximately 5'9" to 5'10" inches tall with an average build." And of course, he's referring to the doorbell.
Kind of like Bridge Guy, right? Kind of like Bridge Guy. Obviously 5'9", 5'10", average build. Kind of like Bridge Guy, right? A similar, very, very much a parallel to our Bridge Guy in Delphi.
Camera video guy that we've seen so much now, you know, fiddling with the camera and all of that. So after that came an important message to those who live by in the Catalina Foothills neighborhood. This says, quote, investigators are requesting all video footage that includes vehicles, vehicle traffic, people or pedestrians, and anything neighbors deem out of the ordinary or important to our investigation from January 1st, 2026 to February 2nd, 2026. An alert was just sent via Neighbors app to users within a 2-mile radius of Nancy Guthrie's residence near East Skyline Drive and North Campbell Avenue. And lastly, Benny, he wanted to let everyone know that the family was cleared. And they recently put this statement out saying, quote, to be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case. To suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I'm begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism. So Vinny, relying on support from the public, he's obviously putting out that the family is cleared, but we also know, interesting fact, that Annie Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie's sister, her car is still in law enforcement possession, even though he has cleared the family. But, you know, he seems to be alluding to that as standard procedure and also alluding to the fact that they have
Alluding, not eluding, alluding. Sorry.
left no stone unturned thus far.
All right. Thank you, Cody. Brings us to the next question in our investigation tonight. How well do we think this investigation is going? Joining me to help answer this question, private investigator, safety and security expert, author of Prepared, Not Scared, Bill Stanton is with us, and private investigator, founder of Victims News Online, Erica Morse is with us. And
hey, it's Erica. Hold on, it's Erica. Where's my air horn? Erica Morse. Okay.
Erica, ladies first. I'll begin with you. You know, I think about this case. You know, Pima County, it's kind of a small town kind of feel to it. It's not Tucson proper, but it's kind of the outskirts. Reminds me of our analysis of two other very high-profile cases in small towns. You know, you had one out in Moscow, Idaho. We saw how that went. And then we saw one in Indiana, in Delphi, and we saw how that went.
Oh my God, did he just say Delphi? Did he just say Delphi and Moscow? What in the world, bruh?
Okay. How well do you think this investigation is going?
I don't think it's going well at all. I think that they're at the point where they need to go back to day one, because we have this vicious cycle that has occurred now. We have a sheriff who is probably outside of his league here, who probably doesn't know how to condition this level of a case, especially this high profile level of a case from day one, okay? And then you have the press trying to get more information because it is such a high profile case. And the sheriff desperately trying to control the narrative. We know the FBI is telling us that the local SO is holding back information. So that's very concerning. And now we have this increased awareness of this $1 million reward. And, you know, I did some research on this, Vinny. BBC did a fascinating piece back in 2014. And in high profile cases, rewards only account for up to 6% of those tips, because what ends up happening is those tip lines become inundated with people who are reward chasing. And now I think we have like 15,000 plus tips in this, and that each tip, you know, requires manpower. So I think that they need to just kind of go back to day one, start over, look fresh, and see if they've missed anything, because I think they've missed a lot.
All right, Bill Stanton, what are your thoughts? How well do we think this investigation is going?
Well, I concur with Erica. She's pretty spot on in a lot of the areas. What the folks watching need to understand, Vinny, is there's various buckets. You have the law enforcement bucket and with the local sheriff's department and the feds. Are they playing well together? You know, are they sharing accurate and timely information? You know, then you have the press. And I think it's imperative that the press stay on this for the family. The more press, the more shows like this, podcasts, etc., the more pressure it puts on, and it keeps that awareness out in the zeitgeist. And then you have the collective, you know, almost the crowdsourcing of us all trying to figure this out. And for the simple fact that it hasn't been figured out, or we haven't apprehended the perp or the perpetrators, that tells me it's, you know, going slower, and the heat on this case is going to simmer down real soon unless someone picks up the phone and gives a valid tip, or there's some breaking piece of evidence that we're unaware of.
Erica, what has surprised you the most in the way this has all played out so far?
Believe it or not, it is the lack of ground searching from volunteers. So I was thinking about this earlier, and you mentioned it, an Indiana case, Delphi, which I've worked, a West Texas rural case, small town, the Haley Dunn case back in 2010. In both of those cases, you had droves of volunteers. And I can think of hundreds of other cases where droves of volunteers show up. Law enforcement says, you take that grid, you take that grid. They take the IDs, they collaborate with these individuals. They utilize media to actually solicit volunteers to come out and search, especially on weekends. We're seeing the exact opposite, where, as we talked about the other night, Ben, United Cajun Navy, the Search Mothers of Sonora, they're being turned away. And so that really concerns me, that 6.5 to 7.5 mile radius hasn't really been covered the way they would like us to think it has.
Turning away searchers, where have we heard that before?
Bill, what do you think they're searching for now? Are they searching for the suspect? Are they searching for Nancy? Are they searching for a body? What do you think what do you think ultimately they're really looking for right now?
Well, I mean, I'll say all of the above, but they're circling back around. They're maybe looking for something they may have missed. You know, Vinny, about a dozen years ago, I had a nationwide case. It was missing baby Lisa Irwin, where the baby was taken from the home. And that case is cold to this day. And every year or so, you know, we do the rounds, we talk about it, hoping that someone sees something or remembers something. And I hate to think that this case goes that route, where we're talking about this, you know, months or years down the line. I think there is a missing piece somewhere. Somebody knows something. They just might not be aware that they have that missing piece.
Yeah, I remember the baby Lisa case very well. I was always wondering about that person caught walking in the early morning hours or middle of the night on that gas station surveillance video. All right, Bill and Eric are staying with us. Coming up next, why is the task force now going door to door?
This entire team here, those behind me, and our community are hurting with you.
This is the story of the Richins. Eric, a father of 3, met an untimely end, and Corey, his widow, wrote a children's book on grief.
She's also charged now with his murder.
He was faced with betrayal and terror.
I know her innocence.
Is their story a tragic romance?
Or a twisted tale of grief?
The truth will come out.
The Grief Author Murder Trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
We just really don't have enough to say, this is our suspect, this is our guy, we know, or our gal. We just don't know that. And it's really kind of reckless to report that someone is a suspect when they could very well be a victim. It just, I bring to you, to the media, I plead with you to be careful of what it is we put out there, because we don't have anybody here listed as a suspect.
Yeah, we know. No suspects, no arrests. Still looking for Nancy Guthrie. Let's get back to Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. Cody, what's happening in the neighborhood? What's the latest there?
Yeah, Vinny, we got some more action in the neighborhood. And from law enforcement, I want you to take a look at these images. They were captured by JLR Investigates and posted to X. We see a still image here. Now, I know it's small, but...
Bruh. Oh, my God. The woman beater.
Oh, my God! On the back of those shirts, it says Violent Crime Task Force. We have a video of them walking there. The one shirt of the guy in the darker shirt, it had FBI in there, and his shirt actually says Violent Crime and Gang Task Force. Now, we know earlier this week, Sheriff Nano said he'd be assigning a special task force to his homicide unit to continue working this case. So maybe this has something to do with that. But Vinny, it seems like they are continuing to knock on doors in this neighborhood, maybe looking for another suspect. Here we are over a month into this investigation.
2 months.
Yes, fascinating that they're back in the neighborhood, knocking on doors of Nancy's neighbors. Thanks so much, Cody. Great work tonight. That brings us to the final question in our investigation this hour. Why is the task force going door to door? Still with me, Erica Morse and Bill Stanton. Bill, what are your thoughts here? Why are they going door to door?
Well, okay, all supposition on my part. One, they need to clear the neighbors. Were all the neighbors properly interviewed? Could they be suspects? Well, we're looking far out. Could it have been right next door? Verifying the video, their doorbell ring type cameras, asking if they may have heard anything, going back on questions they may have gotten from interviewing people in the past. Just, reapplying their efforts, looking to see, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, seeing if there's anything that they may have missed and need to reassess.
Erica, is this what you meant when you said go back to square one, start again, and begin knocking on the neighbors' doors?
Absolutely, absolutely, because I'll take the flip side of that. Bill did a great job talking about, clearing all the neighbors. Now I'm going to look at it from the perspective of utilizing those neighbors as witnesses. They're looking for patterns of break-ins. Do the neighbors recall suspicious vehicles in the area in the days leading up to that? When you are standing boots on the ground at somebody's doorstep and you're having a one-on-one conversation with them, sometimes you can give recall. They'll have a recall situation where they'll go, oh, I forgot about that. Maybe I should have told law enforcement about that. Because you know what questions to ask as an investigator. And one of the questions I would be asking of every neighbor, anyone whose door I would knock on, would be whether or not they've recently had heart medication go missing. Because we are now past 30 days on a medically frail victim, and we don't have anything indicating that a pharmacy was robbed, anybody stocked up on medications prior to her disappearance. So I would be trying to find a source, an incoming source of those heart medications.
Yeah. And it's interesting, it was just last week where a new video surfaced uncovered by the media from a neighbor that was 2.5 miles away. It showed some vehicles, around a time that is consistent with the timeline here. Connected or unconnected, I don't know, hasn't been identified yet. But Bill, that gets to another thing. Like, I work in television, and sometimes you try to get, viewers, you want them to send videos in. They don't do it. But if you go out and videotape them or knock on their door, you're just more likely to get what you're looking for with that very personal interaction.
Yeah, you're 100% right. They're turning over every stone, and we don't know if these investigators, these people knocking on the doors, they may be different investigators to put a new set of eyes on it, if you will. So, they're throwing the kitchen sink at this investigation. I think, it's as it gets cooler, we have to hope for a big hot item or someone picks up the phone that notices a pattern and says something, because as this goes further, that's what's going to break this case.
All right, we only have about 15 seconds left here, Erica. Do you think at any point the family will or should hire private investigators?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because PIs are allowed to run a parallel investigation. That's why.
Bruh.
All right. Big thanks. Bill Stanton, appreciate it. Erica Morse, always great to see you as well. We'll see you again soon, hopefully at some point with a conclusion to all of this. Now, from my perspective, it was really nice to see investigators back in that neighborhood. I can't imagine, as we sit here, that this case can't be solved. Think about the man behind the Walmart mask. He was literally using weeds to deal with a doorbell camera.
Oh
this guy is not a genius.
Weeds.
We don't need Elliot Ness to solve this one. I got to think the sheriff, the FBI, and the task force working together will get the family an answer soon. I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues.
Got that one done, Vinny. Weeds. I mean, guys, look, what the fuck, right? But, you know, I had this thought as they were finishing there. So you got sheriff's office, FBI, right? Not necessarily cooperating. Sort of similar to Delphi, right? Like I said, there's so many parallels here. But I kind of wonder here. Just wondering. What if one of these organizations is not in on this scheme? What if it's the other way around from Delphi? So what if the sheriff's office is actually trying to do work on this because they are not clued in to this scheme? What if the FBI is in on this scheme and that's part of the reason? And then you could say vice versa also, but I don't know. Okay. Before I go too far into my tinfoil hat theories, let's now bear with me here. This is going to be a bit much, okay? But I think that was good for what it was. Now let's rewind back in time a bit. I want to kind of give you, in retrospect, a little perspective on the first days of this, okay? And who knows how many times I'll stop this. I might let it rip, but I might stop it from time to time, because I would say, as perceptive, compassionate, intelligent human beings, what we should be doing here is trying to put our finger on the pulse of who's being most authentic, okay? Because it's very apparent that the mainstream media is not, okay? So now we're going to have an opportunity to kind of look back in time, and let's look at how this presents and see if we can gauge whether or not this is something we can get down with, okay? Let's check this out.
Good morning. I hope you've been kind of informed of the rules. I'm going to try to get as many, if not all of you, an opportunity to ask a question. But last time we tried this, it was just kind of chaotic, people yelling. So I'd ask that you just kind of be patient with me, pay attention to the questions asked, because sometimes you guys want to ask the same question twice, and you're going to get the same answer. So help yourself get what you can out of this. I'm going to give you one question and a follow-up, okay? But before we get there, I do have some comments. First of all, I want to begin by offering our condolences to our partners at the state. Department of Public Safety's tragically lost 2 members last night in a helicopter crash up in northern Arizona. So if you would keep them in your prayers. Colonel Glover and his team, I'm sure, would have greatly appreciated it. Along the same lines, I think you all saw last night, I'm trying to speak up, not yell, because apparently I talk soft. We saw last night the family, you know, they just hurt, understandably so. And so I really want you to know this entire team here, those behind me, and our community are hurting with you. We really just want Mom back, okay? Right now, we believe Nancy is still out there. We want her home. Our department, the Sheriff's Department, along with all of our partners at the FBI, have been working around the clock. And we just want her home and find a way to get to the bottom of all of this, just as you do. But I have other partners out there who have stepped up, and you've probably noticed them in the last few days, if not the last few hours, and you're going to see more of that. Well, I made a decision to contact our PCRIT team, and those of you not local, that's our Pima Regional Critical Incident Team. It's made up of law enforcement officers from this entire valley. Pasquayaki Police Department, Tucson Police Department, Marana Police Department, Oro Valley Police Department, Pima College Police Department, Tucson International Police Department, Sarita Police Department. There's so many of them, and they are going to help us tremendously. And that's really done because we have so much in front of us still, and we're hoping that, you know, I know the FBI has committed a very large number of men and women to partner with us, work side by side with us. We go do an interview, they're going to be there with us. We're going to go look at some evidence or process evidence, they're going to be right there with us. We're sharing every piece of information, all the data we can to get this thing solved. And it's important that my partners in law enforcement know and understand their roles, because it is very large, complex investigation with a lot of moving parts. And we're at that phase now where sometimes we're waiting, right? We're waiting for analysis, we're waiting for lab reports. But even then, when they come back quickly, for example, some DNA, we rushed what we thought was the best target for DNA. We did a rush through and got some of that back. The results were minimal. I think you all know of the blood on the porch. That was one we did. It came back to Nancy. That's what we know. But there's still more items that have been submitted. We just haven't got them back yet. But in the meantime, we're not just sitting on our haunches waiting. We do have a number of leads coming in, and that's why we brought in the FBI for one, but PCRIT as well, to be able to get out there and handle these leads as they come in as quickly and as expeditiously as we can. And every single lead is looked at, every one of them. And so we're gearing up. You probably have some questions about what you've seen in the last couple of days. I'll gladly answer those at that time. But it really is about getting our partners out there. To be fair, when we went to that scene the first night, Saturday night, it was just us. Since then, the FBI and others have asked, can we go and see it as well? And that's what you've been seeing. But it is a very important case to not just me and my team, but this entire community, all of our law enforcement partners. Suspects. I know there's been a lot out there about suspects, and I want to be very clear. At this time, we have not identified a suspect or a person of interest in this case. We are working our best to do that. But to be clear, we have nobody of interest or any suspects that you would consider a prime suspect. We're just not there. We're not there yet. The timeline, I think we've got it on the board, do we not? This is a timeline that we have been able to develop with some of the things that we've had processed. Various pieces of electronics that we've gathered. And you look at some of this, and I know you're going to say, well, why did it take you so long to get this to us, Sheriff? Well, because one thing, it's got to go out and be processed at different lab sites, and sometimes that stuff comes back to us, and like you, we have questions, and we say, wait a minute, what is this about? What about this? Could it be that? And so it's sent back, or it's sent somewhere else. So, and that's happening with all of the things we see. That process, that review, and that questioning of, all right, what is it we're looking at? So I'll go over it with you. You can see it on the board there, but at about 5:32 p.m., these are approximate times. 5:32 p.m., Nancy travels to her local family's home for dinner and playing games with the family, just visiting. At 9:48 p.m., which is very consistent to what we were told by the family, that Nancy was dropped off at home, and we know that because we have a garage door open at approximately, I can't stress that enough, at approximately 9:48 p.m. At 9:50 p.m., that garage door closes, because that time we assume that Nancy's home and probably going to bed. Sunday morning, early morning, at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., software detects a person on a camera, but there's no video available. They had no subscription, and therefore it would rewrite itself. It just kind of loops, right, and covers up. That's what our analysis teams have told us. We're not done with that. We'll do all we can, but that's what it says. So it detects a person on camera. Could that be an animal? I imagine that's possible. We don't know that. We just have no video. But we're not giving up on that. 2:28. Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone. And at 11:56.
Okay, I want to stop that to chime in on. So you know what I think that means? I think that means that she separated from her phone at that point in time. Whether they take the phone, discard it, destroy it, separate her from her phone. I think that's a very important point in this whole thing, because it's much later in the timeline than simply taking her from her residence. So let me see. So supposedly here, let me see. I got a timeline here I copied down and pasted. Let's see. Yeah, the supposed abduction is around the 12:30 mark. Okay. But I find it strange because you're talking about hours later when this pacemaker is disconnected or separated from the phone. Smell's important to me, okay? Because let me back that up a little bit and see what he says again.
We just have no video, but we're not giving up on that. 2:28. Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone.
2:28. So if the running theory is at 12:30 approximately, she's removed or abducted, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. Why is it 2 hours later that she's separated from her phone? So I would speculate on several theories here. Is it a travel time of 2 hours where she's brought? Okay, so I'm thinking 12:30, they believe approximately she's removed from the home. 2:30, pacemaker disconnects or is separated from the phone. So first question in my mind, why a 2 hour window there? Could it be she's brought out of the country to Mexico? Could it be she's brought out of state to another state, 2 hours over? Could it be 2 hours travel time until she's moved to another vehicle or an airport, an airplane, a private plane? What happens such that she's not removed from her phone immediately when she's taken, but it takes 2 hours before she's separated far enough from her phone, like 50 feet or more, that her pacemaker apps disconnects from the pacemaker?
And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy, discovers her missing, and at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. I believe it's about approximately 10 minutes later, 12 minutes later, our patrol teams arrive. They see the scene, and we start our response with our search and rescue teams and our detectives from homicide and various units. In fact, every unit here, I think somebody questioned, how come there's an ICAC member out here, or this member? Everybody in our criminal investigations team is a part of this team and part of this investigative effort. I think with that, let me make sure. I want to clarify some things that I may have already done, but yeah, I've gone over with the blood at the front door, the doorbell camera. It was removed, we know that, but we're not confirming that any cameras were smashed or destroyed around the house. I don't know where that came from, but that's something we're not confirming. The car, the car that was at the home, it's just standard investigative practices. It's part of the search warrant scene, court orders. We pull it out of there and do our scene processing with the vehicle. Uber, we did speak to a driver because Nancy, we learned, had been taken the Uber to the family residence, the daughter, for dinner. And we located that driver and spoke with them and got that information. The house, you guys got this, I think, conducting follow-up. I think you said somebody had mentioned that they saw a team out there again last night or yesterday, and it was.
Okay, I want to draw your attention here to this Fed in the back. Okay, look at this look. Look at the look on this face. Let's back it up a bit and see when this look starts, okay?
And got that information. The house, you guys got this, I think, conducting follow-up.
The house.
I think you said somebody had mentioned that they saw a team out there again last night or yesterday, and that's just.
Look at the look on his face.
About before. Our partners wanted a chance to see it and examine things themselves, and more importantly, it's just.
Our partners. That's who he's talking about. Oh, okay. Okay, you see, this guy right here, he's one of the partners, FBI, right? The minute he brings up the house, this guy starts looking funny, right? And then the sheriff here says, our partners, this guy, wanted to look at the house too. I'm just saying.
We're constantly following up on things and go, hey, what about this? So we want to go back and check on some things. Oh, here's the other thing. Someone had mentioned there was forced entry. I have no clue where that comes from. We have been very consistent. We are not discussing that at all. Whether it's forced entry or not forced entry, that is something we're just not discussing. So I don't know where anybody got that information. I think I am about done with my piece of this. I'm going to bring up here Heath Yankee, and I think you know him if you haven't been here. John Edwards is the assistant agent in charge with the FBI here at the Tucson office. Heath Yankee is the special agent in charge for the state of Arizona out of Phoenix, and he will come up and speak.
Thank you, Sheriff. Hello, I'm Heath Yankee, the special agent in charge of the FBI's Phoenix Division. First, I want to let the Guthrie family know that our hearts are heavy for them. After seeing your message last night, it is clear that you and your family are in pain. Please know that we are doing everything to bring your mother home. The FBI is now working this case jointly with the Pima County Sheriff's Department, and we're going to start today by announcing a $50,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of Nancy Guthrie and or the arrest and conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance, and this will be the missing persons with the reward that will be going out. The FBI has agents, analysts, and professional staff employees working day and night with our partners at the Sheriff's Department. We have deployed additional intelligence and agents from our Phoenix office. We have brought in our critical incident response group from Quantico, Virginia. Members from our cellular analysis survey team are here, and they continue to collect and process digital information. We are actively reviewing and analyzing information from all digital sources, which includes banks, social media companies, phone companies, and any other organizations where a digital footprint could have been captured. All this information provides data points and helps put the picture together. And we will be in the community continuing to conduct a thorough investigation with our partners. You heard about us out there last night. We will be back out there today. I would ask the media, give our investigators the space to do their jobs while they're out there. Next, regarding the ransom letter. We are aware of a ransom letter that was sent to the local media and then to national outlets. As with every lead, we are taking it seriously. We are in communication with the family, and while we advise and recommend from a law enforcement perspective, any action taken on any ransom is ultimately decided by the family. Thank you to those in the community that have called in tips. For anyone out there that may have information, no matter how small you think it may be, please report it. You can do so by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI or online at tips.fbi.gov. My next message is to those imposters who are trying to take advantage and profit from this situation. We will investigate and ensure you are held accountable for your actions. We have made one arrest related to an imposter ransom demand, and a complaint will be presented to a magistrate judge later today. You will get more on that from the FBI and our U.S. Attorney's Office here in Arizona when it becomes available. To anyone that may be involved, do the right thing. This is an 84-year-old grandma. This is an 84-year-old grandma that needs vital medication for her well-being. You still have the time to do the right thing before this becomes a worse, much worse scenario for you. Please return Nancy home. Thank you.
Okay, so the first person we're going to start with the list is going to be NBC National, Liz Prince. Right here.
Can you walk us through that timeline from when you believe, if you look at this here, from 147 to 228, what you think happened there, and what particular software would have detected somebody on camera?
I don't. I know we know the software that was there, but I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm just not in the weeds. I know that. Think of your doorbell cameras. Somebody walks up. My wife's. If I walk up, she gets an alert, and it's usually something like that. A person's detected.
So to understand then the follow-up, one, does that mean that it was about a 45-minute span that this suspect or suspects would have been on the property? And then also, does this essentially mean that you've cooperated with the tech companies and you can officially say that no surveillance video is available from the home?
We know that the tech company that we sent that camera off to, yes, they've said they've run out of ways to recover any video.
And was that about 45
Next
minutes?
person's going to be ABC News, Aaron Katersky.
Yeah. I'm sorry, was what 45 minutes?
Can we say it's about a 45-minute span that somebody would have been on the property then, from 147 to 228?
Yeah, I think those times speak for themselves, and it is about, like I say, those are approximates, so yes. I'm sorry, who was next, did you say?
Aaron Katersky, ABC News.
Hi, Sheriff. Thanks very much. Is there information that you are purposefully withholding because of the active investigation that might be leading you in a particular...
Of course there is, dumbass.
You know, this is no different than any criminal investigation that we conduct here. Law enforcement has conducted investigations since 1860.
Sir, we always withhold information. Hello.
We're always mindful.
We're always withholding information.
And what we should release and can release. There's legal guidelines that guide us, but there's also strategy too.
Strategy.
You know, I'll leave that for you to determine.
Now that you are having such an injection of manpower from...
We are changing directions to a new investigative strategy. And remember, Jerry Holman, it's a strategy, investigation strategy.
The PIMA critical incident team and the FBI, were you slow to bring that in at the outset? Should all of these resources been brought to bear sooner?
I guess that, you know, it's Monday morning quarterbacking. I do it all the time, so you have the opportunity to do it for me. I'll take that hit.
Sheriff, over here, has there been any proof of life, and has there been any sign of life?
I'm going to, anything to deal with the ransom notes and that, I would defer to the FBI, but no, to my knowledge, we're still looking for Nancy.
And for my follow-up question, if I can speak with the special agent, what was it about this apparent ransom note that now 3 days on, you first haven't been able to validate, and second, it warranted informing the Guthries of its existence?
So the ransom note that was sent out there, obviously every lead in this case we are taking extremely serious.
But not everyone is presented to the family. Why this one?
Because this was the ransom that came in and it had facts associated with a deadline, with a monetary value they were asking.
Hello. Okay. I'm going to circle back to this after, but okay, key point there. Did he just say facts associated? Facts associated. So he's saying this is a ransom note that had facts associated. So you would assume what that means is facts that only the abductors would know. Okay, that's the takeaway, but we'll get to that after this. I just want to say he says it there. Okay.
So at that point,
what were some of those facts, if you can, because there's been a lot of speculation, as you know, if you can set the record straight.
yeah, the ransom itself, one talked about an Apple Watch and one talked about a floodlight. We're not going to go into specifics. It's very important that we keep this investigation moving forward, and we don't want to put more facts out there that others then can use to try to profit from this.
Who else would know about an Apple Watch?
Ed Lavandera.
Hey, Agent, I want to follow up with you real quick on that. There have been, as far as we know, I think 3 ransom notes so far, 1 arrest. Are they all different? Or you think there's different authors behind all of them? Or
So the one that went to the media is the one we are currently investigating and working on. The imposter that I talked about, where an arrest was made early this morning, that there will be more information. We believe there's no evidence to connect this to Nancy's case. It was someone that was trying to profit from it, a total imposter.
And Sheriff, you started off the press conference by saying you believe that Nancy is still out there. Do you have reason to believe that she's still out there alive, or are you fearful of the worst case scenario here, that she won't be found alive?
Well, I'm certainly fearful of that. I think we all are. But it is we operate from a position that until we know she's out there, she's alive, and we're going to continue thinking that way until we find her.
Fox Digital, Mike Reese.
Yeah, sir. Michael Rivas from Fox Digital. Sheriff, you said you've identified no suspects. Have you ruled out anyone she was with on Saturday night?
You know, we've talked to so many. I'm sure that my investigators have feelings about this one's clear or this one isn't. But no, I wouldn't say anybody's ruled out yet, because what if I rule you out and then later I learn something else? No.
So my follow-up, you mentioned that you don't know where the reporting of a forced entry came from. Do we know how whoever did this got into her house?
That I would not discuss with
Can't
you.
answer that.
Fox News, Paul Morrow.
Question for Agent Edwards, if I may. Agent Edwards, will the Bureau be submitting the DNA for investigative genealogical investigation?
Look at these guys, man.
I would say the DNA aspect of this case is being handled by the Pima County Sheriff's Department right now. However, should we get to that point, yes, that would be an option for the FBI to assist.
And a quick follow-up, does the ransom note that you're working establish any communication protocols in it?
No, it does not. And that is what I think is important, that if someone has Nancy and is demanding the ransom, that there is communication with the family. We talked about has been no proof of life, and there was no other demands within that letter. So they're still waiting for communication.
ABC affiliate, Ashley Bolden.
Yeah, right here, Ashley Bolden. When you say the doorbell camera was disconnected, do you believe that that camera was taken?
We do not have it in our possession. We've not located it.
And then a follow-up. I know that we've been hearing a lot about ransom notes. We were also hearing in that video that was put out by the Guthrie siblings, and I don't know if this is a question for the FBI or yourself, but the challenges of seeing an image and knowing that it's real. Could one of you address that? Has the family received correspondence, any images, videos?
So we're not going to go into facts regarding this part of the investigation. I think part of that message was, with AI these days, you can make videos that appear to be very real. So we can't just take a video and trust that that is a proof of life these days because of the advancements in AI, and trying to actually get a proof of life that we can verify. But we're not going to go into anything the family may or may not have received.
KOLD, Catherine Patterson.
So in regards to a timeline on that ransom note, is that being an impact in your investigation? Are we nearing that timeline?
I'm sorry, one more time.
So in regards to the timeline in the ransom note, are we nearing that timeline? And is that playing a part in the investigation?
We're not going to go again into specifics of that part of the investigation with the ransom note, other than what we've put out there. We've been transparent. We're talking about we are working that ransom demand, but we don't want to go anything further than that could impact any opportunities. So thank you.
Is there any additional physical evidence at the crime scene other than the technology that you guys are using for this timeline? Is there anything else that's helping you guys other than really the technology?
Well, I think I said on day one is that it's technology that's going to really help us solve this case. But no, I mean, you know, we did do a process of that scene for biological evidence, so we're still hopeful that maybe something will show up there as well.
Arizona Republic, Richard Relas.
Agent Yankee? Yes. We saw on the scene, I believe it was you, taking a tripod into the home of the sister. How involved was the FBI, if at all, in creating the video? Any advice for the family on what to say in the video?
I would say we use our expertise and provide consultation and advice anytime a family would ask for our advice in a kidnapping. It's ultimately the family's decision of what they put out and any messages they put out. But we were, obviously, you're all documenting every move we make. We were there last night in talking with the family. But every decision is theirs.
Right, that was a tripod and a ring light. And Sheriff Nanos, you said the blood was found on the porch and on the front stoop. Just wanted to verify that.
I say porch, front stoop. It's all in that same general area by the front door.
Front of the house.
Front door, yes.
What, given her medical condition and the fact that it was her blood, as you say, what would her medical condition do with her recovery if she indeed bled out or was bleeding when she left the house?
Well, again, I've got to be careful for HIPAA, but I would say this. We know she is in need of medication, daily medication. And we also know that this is day 4 or 5, and still we don't know that she's getting her medication. That could in itself prove fatal.
And for the
No, that'll be
for
that
the
question.
sir,
For
your name?
KGUN News, we have Craig Smith or Athena.
I'll get that for you. I'll get his name.
Craig?
KGUN, Athena,
Oh,
Craig left.
okay.
Have you been in communication with anyone who you believe could be the kidnapper?
You know, it goes back to what we talked about. Nobody's eliminated, but we just really don't have enough to say, this is our suspect, this is our guy, we know, or our gal. We just don't know that. And it's really kind of reckless to report that someone is a suspect when they could very well be a victim. It just, I bring to you, to the media, I plead with you to be careful of what it is we put out there, because we don't have anybody here listed as a suspect, and you could actually be doing some damage to the case, but you can do some damage to that individual too. Social media is kind of an ugly world sometimes.
And how far out have you expanded your search, you say?
You know, I would tell you this, look, nothing's off the table. If we get a lead that there's somebody, hey, you've got this over here or over here, we're going, and that will expand and expand and expand. I think the FBI, with their billboards, they're now planning to put those up at every state around here, at all of our neighboring states. So, we use you, the national media, the FBI with their national outreach, to affect that for us. But as far as the actual investigation, naturally the scene is the primary, and we just keep spreading it out as we get more and more leads.
Court TV, Cody Thomas.
Hi there, Sheriff. Actually, my question is for Agent Yankee. You know, we saw Savannah Guthrie and her siblings, the family, put out that video last night on Instagram addressing, you know, the tragedy that this is, but also addressing the ransom letter saying they're ready to talk. My question is, did the FBI or any other agency help them craft that message to put out on social media?
Like I said to the previous question, we have an expertise when it comes to kidnappings, and when families want advice, consultation, expertise, we will provide that. But the ultimate decisions on what they say and how they put that out rests with the family itself.
And as far as suspects, I know we haven't identified one, but what type of suspect or suspects do we think we're dealing with here?
At this time, like the sheriff has said, there is no primary suspect identified, so it could run the gamut. So.
KPNX, Troy Hayden.
Are you actively investigating the son-in-law in this case? I know there were reports earlier this week, and you refuted that. You said you haven't eliminated everybody. Have you eliminated him or come close to it, or are you actively looking at him?
We're actively looking at everybody we come across in this case. Everybody. We would be irresponsible if we didn't talk to everybody. The Uber driver, the gardener, the pool person, whoever, everybody. It's so cliche, but everybody's still a suspect in our eyes. That's just how we look at things and think as cops. Does that mean we have a prime suspect? No, and the family's been very cooperative. They've done everything we've asked of them, and we want that relationship to continue. And sometimes people can be mean out there, and that can really harm us and harm our efforts.
Did you find blood anywhere else in the home besides the porch?
The
Yes.
only DNA evidence we've got back is on the porch. We prioritize things and we rush things, and those items we put out to a lab to rush it. And even then, it's 2, 3, 4 days. The other items could take 10 days, 20 days, but we saw the importance of that blood. It came back to Nancy.
So it was only there, it wasn't anywhere else in the house?
I don't know that. We processed the house for biological evidence, and we've not gotten anything back.
Newsmax, Sarah Williamson.
Hi there. My question is just piggybacking off our colleagues here about how far this search has gone. When it comes to doorbell cameras, you say technology plays a critical role in this. Have you been actively door knocking the neighbours and businesses and collecting those doorbell cameras? And is there anything that has come up there? And how
Good
far is
question.
it?
I can't tell you whether things have come up or not, but we have door to door. I think we're still doing door to door, not just in that neighborhood, but other neighborhoods. Just as leads come in and take us somewhere, we're going to do those things.
Okay, and just to follow up as well in regards to the video that was released by Nancy Guthrie's children last night, just to clarify, that was not coordinated with any law enforcement beforehand, and that you hadn't seen that video before it was released?
The FBI is handling all things with the ransom.
I think the answer was yes, we were there. The media was there. We can help coordinate, provide that consultation, but that is the family's decision of what they film and what they put out.
Fox 10, Justin Liu.
Agent Yankee, this one's for you. Following up on that video that was released yesterday, you said, ultimately any further action is decided on by the family. Since then, have they expressed any more interest in more efforts to try and get in contact with who is behind the ransom letter? And do you have a crisis or any sort of hostage negotiator with your team for that type of situation if it moves forward?
So the two parts to that question of, I think it's pretty clear, the family wants to be contacted. They know time is of the essence, and if those that may have Nancy are watching this, the family is ready to talk, get proof of life, because there has been no contact after that ransom note went to the media. For your second question, yes, we have crisis negotiators. That is part of our team here locally, along with the personnel we brought in from Quantico, and they will be part of it, but we're not going to go beyond that of any specifics.
Sheriff Nanos.
Okay, here's another takeaway. We brought in personnel from Quantico. Are you guys getting a gut feeling yet? Because we're almost done with this piece here. Gut feelings?
Taking down the crime scene perimeter after Monday's investigation and really opening access to that property to everyone else, was that something you would do differently looking back, knowing that federal authorities also conducted a search yesterday? Would you have kept that perimeter up, knowing that?
Monday morning quarterback, I probably would have, but I'll say this. We processed the scene. We got what we thought was complete. My team did that. I have to have all the faith and trust in their abilities and their skills, and I think they went through that pretty well. But because another agency now steps in and wants to assist, we're just like with you, we're an open book. Absolutely. How can we help? One of the things people don't see, I heard your question about, and we left and then others could walk up. When we process a scene and we're done, we return that scene to in this case, the homeowners, the family. And we don't just go march back in there. We call the family again and get permissions to go back to the home. So yeah, there's, again, Monday morning quarterback, absolutely. I probably could have held off on that. We knew that the FBI, we've worked with them before in a lot of cases, and we felt like they could be of help in this with particularly the forensic analysis we use in a number of things. But at the start of this thing, we weren't sure what we had, and as the day progressed, we realized that there could be more to this, and we started in that.
Could be.
Search and rescue mission the first few hours, and we transitioned that over to a criminal investigation. With that, brought in our partners from the FBI and others.
Okay.
Have you heard from President Trump on the resources?
Transitioned back to a criminal investigation. So you know what that means? I'll back that up a moment because I actually just noticed it this time around. I just noticed this. So he's admitting here or indicating that they had decided this was not a criminal event, and then after a period of time they transitioned back to a criminal investigation. So let's do this, okay? I'll just back it up a moment. Let him say that again because I just noticed it. Okay, let's see. Come on, Daddy.
We weren't sure what we had, and as the day progressed,
Okay.
in a lot of cases, and we felt like they could be of help in this with particularly the forensic analysis we use in a number of things. But we, at the start of this thing, we weren't sure what we had, and as the day progressed, we realized that there could be more to this, and we started in that. Remember, it was a search and rescue mission the first few hours, and we transitioned that over to a criminal investigation.
Oh,
With
I
that
see.
brought in
I see. So it was search and rescue in the first few hours, and then we transitioned that into a criminal investigation, which is odd, I must admit. I have some opinions here, but I'll wait until they're done.
partners from the FBI and others.
Have you heard from President Trump on the resources, extra resources?
I was actually going to ask about that. We saw the message yesterday.
Are you next?
Claudia, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Univision. Following up on that, we saw the message from the president yesterday. Have you personally received any communication from him or
No, and I wouldn't expect that. He too is a busy man, right? And I would say this: we thank him for him opening up his entire law enforcement team, as was put out yesterday, and we know, I know my local reporters here know. We've always worked well with all of our partners in law enforcement. Maybe it's something unique to Southern Arizona, and the rest of the country doesn't see that, but this isn't new for us. We've done this. Gabby Giffords, I headed up that investigation many years ago, and we worked side by side. Could not have got things done if we weren't with the FBI on that.
And just the other question, this being a border state, have you guys had any communication with Mexican authorities?
I have
Good
not.
question.
I work closely with the Mexican consulate, as other consulates, being the sheriff, but no, I've not heard from them.
Arizona, Univision, Madrid.
Hi, Sheriff. My question is, do you know, it's a two-part question, do you know what medication Nancy uses? And have you checked the local pharmacies and pharmacies around the state where they bought, per se, this medication to keep her alive, to keep her healthy, while still look for her?
So we do know what medications, and we have contacted pharmacies. Probably need to go back to just make sure that they didn't, maybe we contacted them early on. I know that night, Saturday night, Sunday morning, I know we were doing all the hospital checks, and that check was continuous every hour, going back out. And physically in person, deputies were going to each local area hospital and asking them to check their logs.
My second question here is, I know you're looking for her in Pima County. Are you looking for her across the state now? And if so, if there's a particular area that you're focusing on right now?
Well, we're looking for her everywhere, right? The FBI just made an arrest on a tip that we got that we thought there could be something here. There's it's statewide. The billboards are going to be out there across the country. We take leads from everywhere, and where those leads take us, we'll get there.
MS Now, Alex Talbot.
Agent Yankee, do you have any reason to believe that Nancy Guthrie may be being held outside of the country?
Good question.
Something that you ruled out at this point?
We don't have any of that information. We haven't ruled anything out. Like the sheriff said, we will follow the facts wherever they take us, whether it is outside of the state of Arizona or over the border. We will follow the facts and go there, but we have no indication anything over the Mexican border.
And you mentioned on the ransom note there were details about the Apple Watch and the floodlight.
Yep.
The ransom notes that were sent out to TMZ, KGUN, and KOLD, are they all the same ransom note? Do they contain the same details in each of those individual ransom notes?
The ones that I am tracking and aware of were the same that went to TMZ also.
News Nation, Brian Enton.
Agent Yankee, sorry, over here.
Yes.
When did the first ransom note arrive? And the reason I ask is because the Apple Watch has been in the news and on social media, and you could see like floodlights on video. So was it before those things were out in the world?
I don't have the specific time frame, as I said here today, of what time it came in, but that you are right. Anyone could see a floodlight hanging down, could have seen some of those things. The watch has been talked about, so that timing is tricky, but that's why we're taking it serious no matter what and following the leads on that. But I don't have the time frame that the first note came in as I sit here today. Thank you.
And my follow-up is for the sheriff. In the house, were there any signs that someone tried to clean up or maybe destroy evidence?
I can't talk about the crime scene, so I'll give you another shot, another question.
My other question is, I heard the agent say that it was a joint investigation now. At the other press conference, the FBI said they were assisting. Is it joint now? I mean, are both agencies in charge now?
Look, there's no ego here. We in this part of the country, we'll take anybody's help. It's not about who's in charge. From day one, when we contacted the FBI, they were
Quite different from Delphi, right? So I'm just like I'm drawing the parallels. I'm drawing the differences.
I'm legally blind.
Quite different from Delphi. Gracious to say whatever you need, and so that's really it. And they're great partners, just as my other local law enforcement brethren. I didn't even have to ask. That's what's really amazing. I haven't had to call anybody. They've called me. Sheriff, what do you need?
Arizona's family, Brianna Whitney.
Hey, Sheriff. I know you had the crime scene process. You said you went back out there. Your partners wanted to see it. But you guys were actively taking out evidence yesterday. Was there something you missed the first time, or did you get a new piece of information that led you to believe you needed to go back out and take more than you had that first day?
You know, I know that we get information that will come, and this is just any crime scene that we look at. We may go out to a crime scene and think we've got it all, go analyze the evidence, and something comes back and says, hey, did you check this? We're not going to just say, oops, and not go.
So does that
Absolutely.
mean you come in?
In this instance, it really was the FBI just wanted to go, hey, can we take a look at it?
Are you worried about that being contaminated at all because there was people in that
You know,
house?
I'll let the courts worry about that. We will certainly be open to the courts of anything that's been removed from that house, and we follow the rules of laws. We get court orders and go back and reapply for another warrant if need be. All of those things we're very careful of.
Arizona Public Media, Lynn Boyd.
Ellen Boyd over here. In that news release yesterday, there was a report of a trespasser. Has the Guthrie family dealt with any incidents, threats, whether that's trespassing, social media threats, anything of that nature?
I am not aware of any of that. I know that we, as with any case, again, we would look at all of the background of calls to those families or their residents and see if there's anything there, or even in that neighborhood. Those things have been looked at. I don't know of anything that was reported in even the last 30 days or 60 days. Nobody's come to me and said, hey, next door you had a burglary.
Follow up for the neighborhood where Nancy's home is. Can you give any more details on that trespassing incident?
I don't have them.
Telemundo, Jesus Gonzalez.
It's for the FBI. I just have a question. Can we confirm if the FBI director is coming for the investigation?
Yes, Director Patel is being briefed several times a day on this investigation back in D.C. He does have a trip scheduled to Tucson that was pre-scheduled before this, but he is receiving consistent and constant updates from our team here.
He's coming today?
He is not coming today.
And before you go to the next one, I know you may have had a follow-up question, but I think I overstepped you. So if you wanted to ask, I'll give you that opportunity.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. At what point do you deem the ransom note not credible if there is no communication that follows up since you received it? Like, what's that timeline where you say, no proof of life, there's no more, this isn't credible?
I think we start to look at what the deadlines were in the note. First, I think was 5 o'clock today, and then it had a second deadline after that. So we are continuing in a normal kidnapping case. There would be contact by now, trying to discuss that. But those are the time frames we are looking at as we move forward.
Are you able to say that second deadline that was given?
I don't have that with me right now. So.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Entertainment Tonight, Denny Directo.
Yes, my question actually is for Agent Yonke. There was a report that said the ransom came from an email and that the FBI was actually looking into that IP address. Any updates on that?
Nothing that I can release. Thank you.
And then also, there's also conflicting reports about who was the last person to actually see Nancy and drive her home. We know she took an Uber to Annie's house, but can you confirm whether it was Annie or her son-in-law Tommaso who took her home that night?
I think the timeline that the sheriff provided was a family member, but
Just family. We're going to go with family.
Record TV, Vandry Piera.
Sheriff, we are for national, so we're not familiar with the area, so we think that is a remote area. So my question is, why is it so hard to track a car or something suspicious that have passed through the area at that night? How difficult it is, because probably cameras around or something.
Yeah, you're talking about the challenges we face in some of being in a rural area like this. Those are challenges we face all the time. We'd love it to have all the cameras in what we would consider a more urban nature type area. But once you get out into the community, that's not the only part of Tucson that is that way. And we just find ways to overcome those challenges. We don't just disregard it. We still look at ways to find, for example, ring cameras that might catch just a piece of something. Goes by, it doesn't catch the whole car. Those kinds of things. We don't give up. We still go out.
But not at least a car that came out at that night?
I
Far
can't.
away, I mean, like miles from the house.
We have cameras all over, and those things are being reviewed.
Arizona Republic, Richard Relas.
I'm a different person, but pretend.
Did he get two?
It's the second one.
Was that you?
Oh, sorry.
No.
All right. Thank you guys for keeping us honest. No, you already asked your question, so we're going to go to the New York Times with Reese. And I apologize for getting your name wrong here, Reese. Tebow?
No, you're close.
Tebow.
Hi, Sheriff.
Hi.
The 212, the camera that detected movement at 212, was that a different camera than the one that was disconnected at 147, and where was it pointed?
We don't know that. We don't know which camera that was. When we did the software, it just told us that a person was detected, but I'm unaware of which camera that was.
So there were multiple cameras and you're not sure?
Sure, there were multiple cameras at the home.
Okay. And is there a possibility that this is not a ransom situation, and if so, what else could it be?
So why have we only seen the one
Say
camera?
absolutely there's a possibility that this is nothing to do with the kidnapping, but we cover all angles. We're not going to dismiss something until we actually know for a fact that it's one way or the other.
People Magazine, we have Danielle Walker.
So I wanted a little more clarity to follow up on his. Is there anything more you can say? Was this actually targeted or not? Do you have any?
Targeted or not?
That's
I
have the FBI to look at those areas where there may have been a target. Maybe it is a kidnapping. But no, we don't have anything to rule that out or to say it is.
And as far as the ransom notes, there was a part in there about Bitcoin. Are you looking into that now, investigating?
Yes, that's part of the investigation.
Can you go and elaborate any further if you found anything, or if there's any ties or any suspects tied to that Bitcoin?
There is not at this time.
Associated Press, Joe Goldendera.
Hi, Sheriff. Just to follow up to a
You're
prior...
Joe?
I'm sorry?
You're Joe?
Goldendera.
Oh, I thought you said
Say
Joe. Okay.
Just to follow up to a prior question, you had said early in the investigation that authorities don't believe Nancy Guthrie was targeted. Why don't authorities think that Nancy Guthrie was targeted?
Who said that who said they didn't
You had
think
said
she?
that early in the investigation.
Boy, if I said I absolutely misspoke. I've never thought she was or wasn't targeted. We've always believed that is certainly a possibility. I mean, you'd be silly not to think that. Somebody disappears in the middle of the night out of their home. You can understand where I'm coming from. But no, if I said that, obviously I misspoke or maybe somebody misheard me. But I've never believed that she was or was not a target.
Is there anything more specific you can say about what you believe the motive to be for this kidnapping
motive's always going to be a question, and we'll know more as we go what that motive is. But right now, my guesswork is as good as yours.
And then we also have the final one will be from KBOA here in Tucson, Monica Garcia.
Okay, so let's talk about that 5 p.m. Did you say 5 p.m. deadline today? Is that the deadline? Oh, maybe that's for the FBI. Can you just give us some sound on that? Because that's a big deal. That's within hours about that 5 p.m. deadline per the ransom note. And then what's supposed to happen after that?
So the ransom note that was distributed to the media did make a demand for 5 p.m. today, and if a transfer wasn't made, then I think a second demand was for next Monday. We're not going to go beyond that, but that was the ransom note the media received.
Did it indicate what would happen if they didn't need that ransom? Did they?
We're not going to go into those specifics.
Okay.
Thank you. 5 p.m. Eastern, I'm sorry, I know it's not. Arizona? Just 5 p.m.
I don't.
Just 5 p.m.
And then, sorry about that, Inside Edition, Jim Murray.
Special Agent Yonke, given the fact that the FBI participated in the creation of this family video, does that suggest your belief that the author or authors of that ransom note, in fact, have Nancy Guthrie?
Again, we're taking the ransom note serious, and we are following that part of the investigation.
And does the fact that there is a ransom note suggest to you that Nancy Guthrie was taken specifically because she's Savannah's mom?
There's nothing to indicate that.
Thank you guys so much for all of your questions.
Thank you.
Sheriff does
Thank you
have
very
one more note about what happens next year.
There's nothing to indicate that other than logic and common sense.
Or what doesn't happen next.
Well, it's what happens for us is we're going to continue working. For you though, I hope this worked out well for you. But right now, I have no plans to schedule any further press conferences unless we have some real evidence or something to bring up to you. It's pretty pointless to just keep hounding the same things over and over. And as Special Agent in Charge Yonke said, please give us some space, and that's not just physical space. Give us some space, give my team some time, because these things do take time, and they are difficult. And everybody out there is really working hard. And mistakes are going to be made.
Mistakes are made.
Made them, mea culpa. It won't be the first mistake I've ever made. But more important than me is we want Nancy back. That's the key. Okay? So thank you very much, and thank you for your concern in this.
And we ain't saying shit. Okay. All right, guys, you're still here. I'm surprised anyone held on through all that. Now, what are some thoughts of mine? And what are some thoughts of yours after taking that in? Well, here's my understanding. That was day 5. Okay, that was day number 5. Day number 5. We're now at day 30, 2 months. Okay, many of you watching this, it will be beyond day 30. It will be day 35 or day 40. That was day 5. I don't think we've heard from them again or since in the same way. So my first instincts watching this are that this sheriff is honest, yet highly defensive and appears to be in over his head. I don't know how that struck any of you, but the way it strikes me in the gut is that he's somewhat honest, but he's highly defensive to a fault. He's a poor communicator, and he appears to be in over his head and has already made a number of mistakes, especially in releasing the crime scene prematurely. Now, on to the feds. I get a very bad feeling about these guys. Okay. I get a very uneasy feeling about these guys. Their demeanor in general, the looks on their faces, uh, the way they're communicating. I mean, the agent in charge there, he even stumbled really bad at one point. And remember, this is 5 days in, okay? 5 days in. And as I mentioned, now we're here 2 months in. No developments. No forward momentum. They're not coordinating with Mexico just to ensure that at least in the areas near the border, they're not looking for this woman, keeping an eye out, doing some sort of preliminary investigation into some potential. How about checking airports, private flights on out, cameras at airports within a 2-hour drive? Remember, the 2 hours is when her phone is separated from her pacemaker, which means her near vicinity. Not a good feeling. Okay, not a good feeling overall. Sort of this feeling of local ineptitude, federal cover up, or something like this. I don't know. I don't know. I know that I do have some theories at the moment, some working theories, or a working theory or two, but I'll discuss those on Friday. I don't necessarily want to go too deep into that tonight because this is just a preliminary look, a first look, trying to catch everybody up and get everybody's first impressions here, at least on this channel. But I mean, overall, not a good feeling. Not a good feeling at all. So I guess to close, I want to share something else from today. Okay. This is today. And this says Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Day 59, latest updates. Okay. Let me do something really quickly. Okay, let's read it. It's been 2 months since Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie, vanished from her southern Arizona home. In her first sit-down interview, Savannah Guthrie told Today's Show co-host Hoda Kotb that the back doors to Nancy's home were found propped open. Authorities believe Nancy was taken from her home against her will. Savannah's family is offering a $1 million reward for the safe recovery of Nancy. Tucson, Arizona, Tuesday marks day 59 in the search for Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of NBC Today host Savannah Guthrie. And it's been 8 weeks since her disappearance from her Tucson area home on February 1st. What happened over the past few days? Police say body of an adult woman found in a Scottsdale canal has no apparent connection to the Nancy Guthrie case. Savannah Guthrie will return to the Today Show on April 6th, NBC announced. It's hard to imagine doing it because it's such a place of joy and lightness. I can't come back and try to be something I'm not, Savannah told Hoda Kotb in part 3 of an interview that aired on March 27th. But I can't not come back because it's my family, and I think it's part of my purpose now. During her sit-down interview with Cotby, Savannah described the chaos and disbelief surrounding Nancy's disappearance after her sister called, saying that their mother was missing. She said, "She's gone," Savannah said. And she was in a panic. I was in a panic. I'm like, "Call 911." She's like, "I did. We've called them. They're here." We thought that she must have had like some kind of medical episode in the night, and that somehow, the paramedics had come because the back doors were propped open, and that didn't make any sense. Savannah says her family is in agony amid the ongoing search for Nancy. The Pima County Sheriff's Department warned the public about fundraising scams connected to Nancy's disappearance. Please be advised there is no official GoFundMe or any fundraising effort associated with the Guthrie investigation, the Sheriff's Department said. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos told KOLD in Tucson that investigators now believe something may have happened weeks before Nancy Guthrie vanished from her Catalina Foothills home. The Guthrie family released a new statement on March 21st asking for community renewal of attention, saying no detail is too small, it may be key. They were asking for any footage, texts, observations, or conversations that hold significance. Security expert, former FBI Special Agent James Hamilton, founder of Hamilton Security Group, joined Fox 10 to talks to discuss his theory of what happened in the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Amid national pressure over the Pima County Sheriff's Department's handling of the Nancy Guthrie case, Sheriff Chris Nano is facing a recall effort. A spokesperson with the Pima County Sheriff's Department told Fox News Digital that there's no information regarding a possible home invasion on March 15th and whether it's connected to the case. Michael Ruiz reports, a PCSD spokesperson tells me that the department has no info regarding today's reports of a possible home invasion broadcast over police scanner radio last night and whether it's connected to the Nancy Guthrie case. The codes are different than what our department uses. Sheriff Chris Nanos warns that the suspect involved in the Nancy Guthrie case could strike again. What? And there could be a danger to the public. I mean, bro, what the? Is this even believable anymore?
Oh my God!
Bruh. Sheriff Chris Nanos warns the public that the suspect involved could strike again and could be a danger to the public. The FBI recovered new photos from 3 cameras on Nancy's property. The photos reportedly do not show anything considered to be suspicious. And the FBI has no plans to release them. The FBI recovered new photos from 3 cameras on Nancy's property. The photos don't show anything considered to be suspicious. Pima County Sheriff's Department said cadaver dogs were no longer being used in the search for Nancy Guthrie. They are available if needed in the future, Sheriff Chris Nanos said. It's been now 5 weeks since Nancy Guthrie's suspected abduction, says Michael Ruiz. A PCSD spokesperson tells me investigators are aware of this damaged utility box around the corner from her home. It's being reviewed as part of the ongoing investigation. Law enforcement reportedly went door to door in Nancy's neighborhood. Savannah Guthrie returned to the Today Show set for the first time since her mother disappeared. The Pima County Sheriff's Department confirmed that DNA found on a glove just over 2 miles from Nancy's home was traced back to a restaurant employee. The employee reportedly works near Nancy's home but is unrelated to the case. Other gloves that have been found are still being tested at a private lab in Florida. It was also reported that the vehicle belonging to Annie, the daughter of Nancy and sister of Savannah, was returned to the family. Several people were reported to have arrived and entered the Guthrie home with a metal detector to search for jewelry or small items that may have been dropped during her suspected abduction. Savannah Guthrie, along with brother and sister, was seen laying flowers outside her mother's Tucson area home on Monday. Nancy Guthrie has now been missing for over a month, and that was on March 2nd, nearly a month ago. Savannah later shared a photo on her Instagram saying, "We feel the love and prayers, and please don't stop praying and hoping with us." Nancy Guthrie went missing on the night of January 31st, morning of February 1st. Was reported missing February 1st when she didn't show up for church. Since her disappearance, the FBI has released footage of her alleged abductor at her doorstep. Now, we're going to look at some of this Friday, but I believe there are some things that could be determined or taken from these photos here. Let me blow them up for you. Let's see. I believe that there's a takeaway from this face here, that regarding aspects of this individual's identity. Okay, but we'll get back to that. Okay. Notice the difference in contrast in these two photos, too. Okay. The Sheriff's Department asked for anyone within a 2-mile radius of Guthrie's Catalina Foothills home to submit any footage they may have from January 1st to February 2nd that they deem out of the ordinary or important. So just to reiterate, let's take a look at this. You see, it says Sheriff's Department asked for anyone within a 2-mile radius that may have any footage from January 1st to February 2nd. But check this out. FBI wants all video footage from January 1st to February 2nd. This is the month prior to this incident. And here you go. You see that? Okay. TMZ say they received a highly sophisticated ransom demand involving cryptocurrency. The email demands a dollar amount similar to the $6 million ransom demanded in the previous email we received a few days after the kidnapping. This email graphically describes the consequences if the ransom isn't paid. TMZ also said they forwarded the ransom demand to the FBI. All right, what can you do? Savannah says her family is offering a $1 million reward for the recovery of Nancy. Anyone with information should contact the FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Pima County Sheriff's Department has also set up a tip line where the community can submit information in this online form. Map of the area. Okay. North Tucson. North Tucson. Okay. And that does it. That does it. So it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting, especially the concept of widening this window back 2 weeks to a month prior to this event. Very, very interesting. I don't know what to say. I hope the takeaway that you guys leave with is there are a lot of questions here. A lot of questions. It's highly suspicious. I think there's I don't know, like, what the hell do you do? More questions than answers. And again, the silence from, I hate to call them anything, but the silence from these, I have a hard time calling them anything, literally. What word can you use? Talking heads. The silence from these talking heads with badges is absolutely deafening. And as I said earlier, the disproportionate coverage that this case received is absolutely mind-boggling. Remember, this is an 84-year-old woman, a really, really old. This is an old-ass grandma. When would you ever see this sort of coverage? I think it's ridiculous that they won't at least go with a working theory that this is related, or at least go with the working theory that this is a targeting. Why would you not say this is a targeting? Who shows up at a random house in a rural neighborhood, in a suburb, and chooses this house to pull this off, and then possibly submits a ransom note and gets away with it all? It really feels like this is absolutely a targeting. And I would say they should be running with the working theory that this is highly indicative of a targeting, especially considering the high profile nature of Savannah Guthrie and her connection to the Epstein files, or case, or victims, however you want to put it. So there's time to take another look at some of this stuff. I think it's also very, very odd that with additional cameras, there's nothing else useful. Tell me how that is. So this guy appears on the front door camera, right? Perfectly shielded with the mask and the clothing and all. Goes grabs some brush, puts over the camera in some way, and I don't know. And then what? We got nothing from the camera. Okay. Now it's revealed there are additional cameras around the house, none of which provide anything usable. The back doors are propped open with flower pots. And grandma's known not to lock those doors, to leave them open. Maybe ventilation when she first gets home, let the air get some fresh air, let the house get some fresh air. You know, maybe the doors were open already. Maybe they were already propped open. Maybe they were cracked open. Maybe they were unlocked. There's no way this is a single perpetrator. How does a single perpetrator pull all this off in the way that people are assuming? Seems like a team. And anyway, if they come in the back door, right? They come in the back door. Why did they leave the doors propped open? Unless they didn't want to touch the doors. Maybe they're already propped open. Who knows? And then there's blood from the victim here, the old lady. There's blood in the house and going on out the front door. Where's the blood coming from? Is this a nosebleed? Is it a cut? It's not a large amount of blood, as you could see. It's just a little spatter. It's not much. It's almost like nosebleed level blood. Or busted lip, or busted eyebrow. All of you have had injuries. I'm sure you get a little blood drip, but it's not a large amount of blood. Very, very interesting. The feds look uncomfortable. The sheriff looks upset that he's in over his head. He's being criticized, and he's highly defensive, and he knows he's goofed. Very, very curious scenario. And as I mentioned, the way the media blew this up beyond proportion, the way that they're injecting such emotionalism into this. For any of you who saw that Savannah Guthrie Hoda Kotb interview, it was extremely emotionally disturbing. They're basically in tears the whole time, just sobbing all over the place. Notice in some of the photography that I showed you early on in the Vinnie Politan segment, um, let me maybe show what I'm trying to describe. I just found it odd, okay? Like some of the photography. Let me see if I can find the section where he shows that. Who knows? It'll probably be hard to find, but very odd selection of photography, okay? Let's see. Let me throw this up here.
In the everyday.
Okay, no. No, don't play. Just present. Okay, let's see. Okay, first piece. You don't find it odd that they chose this piece of photography? I don't know. I just find it odd, like emotionally triggering. Keep in mind, this isn't the day she finds out her mother is missing. This is quite a bit after. Maybe a month later. Okay? And then this one. What is this? Let me show this better. Oh, God damn it. Okay. Okay, this one. What's up with this one? What's up with this one with the praying hands, the bowed head, the closed eyes? And the hugs, the crying eyes, wearing black with the crying face and the crying hug of comfort. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. It smells psyopy to me. It smells like a media production to me. And I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I really am. Because the most alarming thing, like the first red flag for me was those first 5 days or so, the first week or two, just the extreme blow up in the mainstream media. I go with my gut, okay? Immediately I was like, what the hell is it with this woman? What the hell is it with this woman? What the hell is it with this woman? This is an old lady. What the hell is it with this? And so that's my thoughts. Nancy Guthrie, 2 months later. So hopefully some of you will share some similar thoughts, or maybe you have better thoughts or food for thought. In any case, please leave it down in the comment section if you're on the replay. I'd be glad to hear all of your input. This is bewildering. And keep in mind that there's still people, boots on the ground, sitting outside of that house every day, which is bizarre. What's going to be accomplished? I don't know. I do not know, but this is a bewildering case, okay? A bizarre media event. The connections to Epstein, absolutely burning red flags, okay? So I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for being with me here tonight. It's food for thought. I mean, I know this, and I hate to be cruel. I don't mean to be cruel, but it really does feel like a months-long distraction at a very crucial time. Bring yourself back to February 1st and the entire month of February. Okay? Entire month of February, this was your headline with all else that's going on in the world. So think about it, and I hope to see you guys again. Maybe you'll have some thoughts and come back and we'll talk about it again. But God bless. Thanks everybody who's here. Hug your kids, hug your wife, right? And it's crazy. It's crazy times. But I want to go back and try to find everyone who was here to say goodbye and thank you. So we'll be out of here momentarily. Let's see. We had Paula Fitzhenry, Becky, Christopher, Deb, Victims News on Air, Who's Her Daddy, Critter Mama, Quad Axel Mimi, Fur Baby Daddy, ACV 5360, Caroline, Oh Hey Christina, Luis Cuevas, Gretchen, Silenced Woman, Peggy O, Carol, who else was here? Mandy Gilliand, okay, Mercy Choke, Trial Junkie, Court of Public Opinion, Miss K, Ninja Warrior Assassin, Matt Payton, Monday, don't want to miss anyone. Goose's Gammy, David Rogers, Moonbeam, all right, let me know if I've missed you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. We got Noe. Okay, Cinnamon Apple. And I think I caught everyone. If I missed you, I apologize. Let me know. But God, it's a crazy case. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe how long this has gone on. Like I said, month number 2. We're finishing the second month. Last heard from them, day 5. What's going on there? But have a good night, everyone. We love you. And see you soon. God bless. Hug your kids. Hug your wife.
Obviously, we have a rapist in Lincoln Park. He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up, trying to rape them. So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they raping everybody out here. Bruh.
My heart is so cold, my energy is contagious. All the pain, I can't take it. I'm staying grounded and graceful, cause I know everything that I've been through only made me count my blessings daily. Yeah, they've been acting shady, but I don't take it personal. The memory's fading, I'm enjoying the moment. I've been smelling the roses, taking time to reflect, stepping back, the truth unfolding, unfolding. Got nothing to prove, cause I'm about to blow. I've been in the booth, speaking through my soul. You know that I'm true, either way it goes, where it go, either way it goes. I cannot turn cold, staying on the low. I post, cause I'm vibrating high. Ain't got time for your ego, these niggas quit to turn their back. Acting like the amigos, they never cared in the shows. Wasn't with you at your lows, assuming that you gonna fold. But baby, I've been growing ever since I let you go. And I've been doing better, and I know that hurts to know. Hurts to know. Only good vibes around me, and that's for sure. Only good vibes, good vibes. Good vibes, good vibes. Only need good vibes, good vibes. Good vibes, good vibes. Only need good vibes. Can't lie. Only need good vibes, good vibes. Good vibes, good vibes. You see me searching for my inner peace. I've been learning more about myself and my purpose. Truth always come to the surface. Was hurting, but I had to heal. Releasing all the pain that I always held. Been going through some changes, I'll make it still.